Let's welcome in our morning guest at this moment. Mr. V.K. Sharma is now joining us. Samit Chavan is also with us, and Ashish Chaturmuha is joining us this morning. Mr. Sharma, let's start with you. What are the picks for the day?
I think not for the day per se, but in my appearance that I have come here after a month, I think I'd like to reiterate whatever I have said earlier. I think in the current market scenario, when there is uncertainty regarding other sectors, banking is a sector that will continue to do well. And in the private sector banks, we like RBL Bank. That is our first pick. We have a target around 485 in this. And this is a stock where we feel that the management is good. The track record has been pretty good for the last 4 years. They have grown at the fastest pace among the listed entities in the banking sector, 40% CAGR. And the last quarterly growth of 45% really augurs well. And this coming at a time when the NPAs are under control at 0.6%, my sense is investors can't go wrong with this. And this is a stock which can give you better than the market returns, and it will be an outperformer even in the banking sector.
Right. No other names?
There are other names, of course. I would like to buy Coromandel International. This is the largest fertilizer company in India. Currently, technically, it's in a downtrend. But I believe that from the current price of 330 odd to around 320 first and then 310, one could average the stock lower. This, we believe, has the capability to double in the next 3 years.
All right, so Coromandel International also a pick has the potential to double in the next 3 years. Ashish, what are your top picks for the day?
Hi, good morning. So my first pick would be a long idea on REC Limited. Now, if you look at REC, the stock has been consolidating for many months and has given a fresh breakout after almost 5-6 months of consolidation, and now it's now already reached it at a 52-week high. We have seen a very strong open interest addition in last couple of months, and we have seen positions being rolled over in last 2-3 series in the entire PSU undertaking, and particularly in REC Limited. So I think this is one stock which can give you easy 5-7% from current levels. So one can initiate a long, keep a stop below 140, and upside can look for a target of 155 in the March series. My second long idea would be a long call on Tata Chemical. Again, a stock continuously consolidating near its all-time high, and we have seen a very strong addition in terms of open interest in last 3 trading sessions, clearly indicating that this stock has a potential to cross its previous all-time high and target somewhere around 600 odd levels. So one can initiate a long at current levels, keep a stop below 560, or an upside can look for a target of 600 levels. My third pick would be a long idea on Petronet. Again, a stock near its all-time high and a very strong delivery volume pickup, as well entire trading activity has improved in the stock. So I think this is one stock which can cross 420, 425 in a shorter term. So one can initiate a long, keep a stop below 390 for an upside target of 420 levels. And in the cash segment, we like Future Retail. This stock has formed a good pole and flag formation. So at current levels, one can initiate a long at in the stock with a stop below 214, and upside can look for a target of 245, 250 levels.
Right. These are the picks coming in from a morning guest. Apart from this, TCS will be in focus. Of course, it was in focus yesterday as well. But there are a couple of developments. So firstly, N. Chandrasekharan, who has been the face of TCS since 2009, from today, joins Tata Sons as board. So that's one development. Post that, the CFO has been elevated to CEO, and the new CFO has been announced. Mr. V. Ramakrishnan, he's a veteran in the finance team for TCS. He has been elevated as the new CFO. This is an announcement which came in yesterday, post market hours. He spent about 17 years in TCS. He has served as finance head, almost like a quasi CFO in TCS America over 1999 to 2007. That's the time when TCS US business grew really fast. He's not an unknown face to the investors. Most of the investors know about him. This is, of course, yesterday. During closing hours, you've got the buyback news which came in, because of which the stock went up 4%. Delivery volumes were 8.5 lakh shares, and the total open interest change. There was some short covering activity which is indicated by this data, which is about 2 lakh shares of negative open interest. Some calls coming in, or some views coming in from top brokerage houses. So Credit Suisse says consistent payout policy will be very important for TCS stock performance going ahead. Buyback will be be earnings neutral, according to them, in the near term. Macquarie says investors could press for an increase in the payout ratio. However, because of the buyback announced, the details that they have given, they expect around 1% change for FY18 EPS. Morgan Stanley says buyback itself will not be a big re-rating factor. Buyback will lead to lower net income by about 1 to about 2%. Overall, mixed views coming in, but you get a sense that the street is not particularly very excited about the buyback.
All right, all telecom stocks will be in focus again today because we are having a press conference by Reliance Chairman and MD Mukesh Ambani. He's perhaps going to talk about what's happening with Reliance Jio, and he will brief the media on the developments of Reliance Jio. This is the second press conference post Jio's soft launch nearly 6 months ago. Jio has been providing free 4G services since its soft launch. And Jio has 72.4 million subscribers as of December 31, 2016. What happens when the Happy New Year offer gets over? All eyes will be on that, of course. And make sure you tune in to NDTV Profit. We will get you the latest from that press conference. We will listen in to Mukesh Ambani, the MD of Reliance Industries. We're expecting this press conference at lunchtime around 1:30. Make sure you tune in to NDTV Profit.
Right. Of course, Anisha, that will be a very big development to watch out for and what happens in that press conference. Max Financial will be in focus today. So Max Financial has a deal today where GS Mac Holdings, which owns about 6% plus in the company, has opened a book for investors to subscribe, where they want to sell about 5.6%. It's not a full 5.6% book. So there is a 3.1% stake which they want to sell, which is 10 lakh shares, then followed by 5 lakhs. So if the demand is there, they would go ahead and sell. The floor price for the book comes in at around 550 rupees per share, which makes the total book size at about $123 million. That's a decently big size number, 670 odd crores plus. The floor size is at about 550, which is at 7.5% discount to yesterday's closing price. You can see that this is the pre-open price for Max Financial, which is already indicating a 3% sort of a downtick start. So that's what Max Financial Max Financial pre-open is indicating. Citi is the sole book runner for this deal, and they are the only advisors to this particular QIP.
Let's keep the focus on earnings and do a review of the earnings that came out from Ambuja Cements. Whose earnings weren't looking strong, and for their fourth quarter, the sales were down 6%. The profits did move up by 59%. The EBITDA was flat at 329 crore rupees. Now, the volume growth was down 8.8%. This is perhaps the impact of the demonetization. Realizations, though, moved up at 4,462 rupees a ton, and EBITDA per ton was lower by 3% at 2,947 rupees a ton.
Right. There are a few results, Anisha, today. So Castrol and ITD Cementation will be declaring numbers. Let's look at Castrol and what the street is expecting. Sales numbers are estimated at 770 crores. This is a poll number, but when I was making the poll of the 770 crores, there are various estimates. So between 710 to 800, that's the sort of number that the street has. For the profitability, absolutely flat. That's about 141 odd crores. EBITDA is seen at 220 crores versus about 210, and realization is expected to be about 169 rupees a litre. This is volumes for you, about 46 million. That's what they are likely to do. Realization per litre is about 169. EBITDA margins are expected to be close to 27.8 versus about 26.6. But fuel prices have gone up, or rather oil prices on the underlying raw material prices have gone up. So this number could have a slight bit of change than what the street is expecting. Another company that declares numbers, again, it's a global company, so it's a Q4 number. ITD Cementation will be declaring numbers. Expected to be weak, 15% decline on the sales front. Profits expected at 25 crores versus about 30 crores. EBITDA is seen at 77 odd crores. If you just put that as a margin number, it comes in close to about 8.5 odd percent. Overall, not that great set of numbers expected from ITD Cementation or for Castrol. Both of these are expected to be slightly on the muted side.
All right, there are a few other stocks that are in focus on news. Let's pull up some of those stocks. KSB Pumps came out with their third quarter earnings. Profits were down 5.7% at 23 crore rupees versus 24.4 crore rupees. Top line absolutely flat, growth of just 3%. The EBITDA was lower at 36.2 crore rupees, and EBITDA margins also shrank nearly 200 basis points to 14.4%. We have Siemens India. It has won an order worth 287 crore rupees. And REC, a pick from one of our analysts in the morning today, it has entered into two memorandums of understanding, two MOUs, and this is for extending financial assistance to the tune of 15,150 crore rupees. So that's a huge amount of business for REC. Sun Pharma has opened its first production unit in Egypt, and there are some reports coming in on Granules India that the World Bank arm is going to invest $47.5 million in Granules India. So these are all the stocks that we are watching out for the day to day, and they'll be in focus. Let's go back to our guests. Mr. Sharma, how would you view TCS now? We saw a big superlative move coming in a day earlier on the back of the announcement of the buyback. Do you think the buyback price is... Okay, Pankaj, do you have some developments?
Right. Anisha, just before we talk about Tatas and what's happening over there, an important development today where the new Tata Sons CEO, N. Chandrasekaran, takes over. Let's go directly to Bombay House. Anant Zanane is now with us. He's there tracking all the developments. Anant, what's the latest as far as Bombay House is concerned? Have you seen the new chairman coming in?
Well, everyone is waiting for him over here, Pankaj. And let me give you a sense of, the sort of developments at Bombay House. We are parked right here. There's obviously a huge contingent of the media right outside. Everybody waiting to, catch a glimpse of Mr. N. Chandrasekaran when he arrives here. The red carpet has literally been rolled out for him. We saw the covers come off earlier in the day. And, we're expecting any moment that his Jaguar will pull up right outside Bombay House and he will enter the building. He's going to go inside, also pays respects to J.N. Tata, whose bust is installed at the end of this corridor here. But as we've been reporting that these are difficult times when he's taking over the chairmanship of Tata Sons, there are various concerns about, how, other Tata companies are faring. TCS and JLR Tata seems to be the only companies who are performing really well as far as the Tata group of companies is concerned. So how is he going to address those concerns? Mr. Mistry talked about when he was, ejected from the post of chairman about corporate governance issues. Those are also issues that he will have to, in a sense, look into, and also talk about, various other aspects about how the Tata Trusts, is in a sense day-to-day involvement in the functioning of the Tata group of companies. So those are the various, concerns that will also, take his time and during his role as chairmanship. But we're right out here. There's a lot of excitement because there are Tata employees also waiting, very eagerly for his arrival over here as he takes over the chairman of Tata Sons.
Anant, thank you so much for briefing us with what's the latest at the Bombay House and how the new chairman is expected to come in. But we'll go back across to him once we have further details about chairman entering the office and probably even briefing media. Mr. Sharma, more than the buyback for TCS, would you see this as a big development? What's happening at Tata Sons? What will be the priority list of the new CEO? All of that would be much more in focus?
I think one can rest assured that the fact that the MD of TCS is now taking over as the chairmanship of the Tata will definitely mean that it will have all the attention that it deserves, and the game plan, whatever he may have for other Tata listed companies, especially in the IT space, will definitely not go unnoticed. So I think it's a very positive development. But coming back to the buyback per se, I believe that the TCS price, what they were 2850, what they announced, was pretty good. The size of the buyback was also larger than expected, but I think it has been fairly discounted now in the current price. And considering the fact that if the promoters were to participate in this buyback, then a measly 3% only will result into 3% shares being let's say, accepted of the public. So this is a very low figure. So I don't think the stock, should it go above 2,700 or so, I think investors can, instead of waiting for the buyback, they can might as well sell whatever quantity that they may have for trading purposes. Right. However, this will augur well for Infosys, which I believe should now look after, take the request of the promoters seriously for a buyback.
Right, just about 20 seconds remaining for markets to open. This is the pre-open price of TCS. Samit Chavan is also now joining us. Samit, I'll just come back to you after market opening. We are yet to take your picks for the day, but we should start getting the first trades anytime soon. All the Tata Group stocks would be in focus. Ambuja Cement declared numbers that will be in focus. A couple of pharma companies, NBFCs like REC have some news flow associated with them. So all of that would be in focus once the market starts for trading. Okay, we have the first trades with us. Nifty is indicating a positive start, 8890, exactly in line with what SGX was indicating. Sensex is up 43 odd points. Asian Paints 978, 3 rupees higher. Cipla about 2 rupees on the lower side, and Dr. Reddy's down about 1 to 2 rupees. HUL absolutely flat. Ambuja Cement down about 2%. That's reacting to numbers. Numbers were weak. Anisha gave you the details of the numbers just a while back, and numbers were not looking particularly that good. Bank of Baroda 0.3% higher. Infosys is up 1%, 1021 for Infosys. Idea at about 108. Hindalco is at 184. Tata Steel about 0.70 paisa higher. ITC flat with a negative bias, and Power Grid also similar story. Tata Power up around 50 paisa. Adani Ports flat with the negative bias. ICICI Bank is down about 15 paisa or so, but not much in terms of movement. ONGC is also on the flattish side. Infosys is now the top gainer on the Nifty pack. It's up around 9 rupees or so, 1.5 lakh shares traded. It's always a very well traded counter, but it's up 1%. TCS is up about 13 to 14 rupees, but I think TCS closed here. It was the adjusted close which came in at 2,500. So maybe that's why, it's just replicating this number again. So 2,511, that's where TCS is. Flat with a very, very marginal bias on the green side as far as TCS is concerned. Let's look at some of the other gainers as well. So if I look at the third top gainer, it's about BPCL. Okay, Max Financial, I think the deal has gone. No, the deal has not gone through. It's just about 70,000 shares which have been traded so far. So the deal has not gone through so far. I'm just looking at the volumes again to try and find out if the deal has gone through. No, as of now, the volumes are picking up. But it's not. The deal has definitely not gone through. Ambuja Cement 1.7% on the lower side. That's a results impact. 235 numbers were not that great. Whether you look at the volume front, you look at what's happening in terms of realization, all of it was absolutely lower. KSP Pump down about 1%, but look at the volume, just 263 shares, so it's not much. So that's another name which is reacting. Siemens is reacting to an order that it won, so about 1.5% higher. It's for a metro that they have won an order. It's 1.5% higher. REC is up around 2.5 odd percent, 3 to 4 rupees, 154. It's also the top pick of Ashish. He had mentioned it last time as well, but I think from there it was flat, but today it's looking as if it's giving a breakout. That's Sun Pharma for you, 681, absolutely flat, no major change. Let's look at Granule as well. That was also in focus because of news flow, but again, no major movement over there as well. JSPL is also up 3%. Remember, it was up 10% yesterday, so that's a name which continues to look very, very good. Anisha, any other names that you can pick up on the volume side?
Yes, Welspun Corp is up 4%. Marks and Pharma, that one continues with its good up move. It's up 5.5%. We've got both the Gammon stocks, Gammon India and Gammon Infrastructure, up 4%. And you did mention JSPL, that's also up 2.5%. Now, among the telecom stocks, you see that Bharti and Idea are facing a little bit of selling pressure today in the morning. But we have Tata Teleservices continuing with its good run, up nearly 2.5% or thereabouts. So these are the stocks that have moved up well. On the losing end now, Max Financial Services is down 4.5%, Ambuja is down 2%, and Unitech is down 2.5%. These are the stocks to watch out for, where we are seeing a little bit of selling pressure coming through. Samit, good morning. Can you give us your top picks for the day?
Good morning, Anisha. We have three long recognition. First one would be Tata Steel. Clearly, yesterday we saw a convincing breakout from 3 weeks of congestion zone with a substantial rise in volumes. Thus, looking at the weekly chart, we expect the stock to extend this rally. Our immediate target would be around 506 with a near-term perspective. But with a medium-term view, we have a target of around 530, 535 for Tata Steel. Stop loss would be around 477. Our second pick would be from PSU banking space, PNB. Clearly, after 3 to 4 days of consolidation around 140, which has been acting as a very strong support, we saw good positive traction yesterday. And going ahead, looking at the higher degree uptrend, we expect PNB to climb towards 155. Stop loss now can be placed around 138. Our third buy would be on Siemens. If we look at the overall daily weekly chart, last week this stock had confirmed its price volume breakout from a multiple resistance zone. Since last 3 days it's been consolidating in a range, but 1200 seems to be a very strong support. And today we have already seen a gap up opening in the stock. So going ahead, we expect Siemens to climb towards 1290, which would be a near-term target, and stop loss would be around 1175.
Just wanted to highlight that Max Financial deal has gone through. It's about 1 crore shares which have changed hands. So we can just look at that name on NSE in terms of volumes. The indicative price is 565 rupees. This is, of course, you get the changes coming in. There are some sort of volatility in the prices. So the block price does not come exact. 565, 17 million shares traded, but the block has gone through. So there was an exit which was going to happen. That has already happened. I think we have another development coming in on TCS where we're getting some live shots coming in regarding what's happening at Bombay House. You can see the new chairman new chairman is walking in. I think even Mr. Ratan Tata is walking in along with him. So you can see live shots over there. Of course, it's a big development today. Any strategy highlighted, anything addressed in terms of media or to employees is something which will be in focus. So that's definitely one group that you want to eye out for. This is TCS. It's reacting to buyback as well, but also there are other stocks like Tata Steel, or Tata Communication, which have been focus area under the previous chairmanship. Ashish, what's your view on TCS and some of the other Tata names, maybe Tata Steel as well? If you could just tell, it's buzzing in the last few days.
See, as far as few other Tata stocks are concerned, as I already mentioned, Tata Chemicals looks very interesting to me, because if you look at the kind of structure this stock has formed, it has consolidated for many months and now near its all-time high. I think this stock has a potential to give minimum 15-20% return in next 2-3 months. So I think this is one stock which looks very interesting to me. As a trading short-term bet, I have already recommended with a stop below 560 for an upside target of 600. But I think this stock has a potential to test 650, 660 kind of levels in a shorter term. As far as Tata Steel is concerned, again, a very interesting play, because the kind of breakout the stock has seen beyond 480 and the kind of open interest addition we have observed from 450 to 490 zone clearly indicates that a lot of long accumulation is happening. So I think Tata Steel has a potential to test 540, 550 kind of levels. So maybe another 10 to 12% upside from current levels could be expected even from Tata Steel.
Right. You mentioned about REC. I think it's reached 154. Could you just retrace the targets and stop losses?
See, I think as far as REC is concerned, it has, so I think it's a clear breakout, and the way the stock has consolidated and the kind of formation the stock is showing, I think the stock has a potential to test 175, 180 levels in a medium to long term, but at least, but in a shorter term, we expect 160, 165 as a short term target. But I think the way the overall pattern is being seen in stock like REC, Power Grid, or even for that matter NHPC, I think these stocks have a potential to give 15 to 20% upside returns from current levels in next 3 to 6 months.
Right. Mr. Sharma, what will be your call on the markets, the sort of buying that DIs have done? What is your call? You think any negative news, any major knee-jerk reaction will be bought into?
I think that is what should actually happen. What we have actually seen is the fact that the markets have per se the investors are reluctant because of these state elections the results will come, which will come on 11th of March, and obviously the municipal elections here in Bombay. So our view is that the worst seems to have been discounted. The markets have already priced in partially to the extent that BJP is not going to come to power in UP on its own, and that is what it matters. However, we believe that if the Samajwadi Party is out of power there, and a coalition is formed with the lead of BJP and the Ms. Mayawati joining hands, then probably this is not discounted, and that will augur really well. In Maharashtra, there is nothing to be lost because Shiv Sena has been holding fort for the last many decades. So definitely, any gains here would be seen as long-term gains for the BJP on its ability to fight on its own. So I think we believe that after the elections, the markets will be much more confident, but the gains are to be had in buying ahead of the elections results rather than after that.
All right, so that's the view on the markets coming in, the election results, before they come out, look for gains then. Samit, have you had a look at some of the gas stocks on the charts? The charts are beautiful. Look at GAIL, look at IGL, look at Petronet LNG. All of them are at new 52-week highs. Would you be cautious now? Would you look to book some profits if you've held on for some time? Or do you think they're good for more? Your views on these three stocks?
No, I think one should hold on to it. If we talk about Petronet, on Friday, we saw a decisive breakout from a triangular pattern with substantial rise in volumes. And if we look at the overall daily weekly chart, it's been maintaining its uptrend. It's been maintaining its formation of higher bottom formation. So one should hold on to it as far as Petronet is concerned.
All right, let's just cut across to Bombay House.
You can just ask them to move now. Stay into the lens, sir. Sir, center, sir. Sir, look camera, sir.
I've been very proud of being one of the and I look forward to working with all the group entities, bringing the group together to make an impact both in terms of business and also in terms of the society at large. And our group companies have historically shown tremendous spirit in terms of pioneering and leadership. We will work together to deliver business performance which are industry leading in all our businesses and lead and not follow. In the group is the hearts and minds of people all over India and all over the globe. I will always keep it in mind and do everything we need to do to delight all the people who are proud of the group. And we work together with all the business units in the group to drive a lot of discipline on capital allocation, on shareholder returns. And thank you. I look forward to the opportunity to serve the group in this new role for the years to come and seek support from everyone so that we can collectively make it happen. Thank you so much.
Just come दिखाइए सर come दिखाइए सर come दिखाइए सर
That was live shots coming in from Bombay House, where the new chairman has taken over. Of course, giving a speech that he's greatly honoured for this post, and he looks to work in terms of the best that probably he can. That's the new Tata Sons chairman, which is saying that it's an honour and a privilege to be a part of such a big group and to become the chairman of this company, Tata Sons. It's of course a historic day in Tata, and what happens next, what's the sort of strategy that comes in, will all be particularly important. Most of the Tata Group stocks are actually not reacting and probably waiting for the first strategy to come in, the first move to come in from the new chairman, and only then you would see some sort of reaction. That's TCS for you. Tata Steel is flat with a positive bias. Tata Metallics is on the positive side. Mr. Sharma, you briefly mentioned about your thoughts of the new chairman, but do you think the strategies that come in, the first steps that come in, only after that the markets would react on Tata's and what essentially is, the vision of the new chairman?
I think the markets are going through a correction in the sense that the mess up which Mr. Mistry had created had tarnished the images of these companies, and now they have done the legwork. They have now moved up. So going forward, it will be a function of what is the growth path for individual companies that is laid out, and his policies will definitely be looked at. But we are not worried. We know for that the whatever steps that the new chairman will take will effectively help these companies. So as an investor, as a Tata investor, I'm not worried at all, and I'll give him a long rope in the sense that give him time to understand and then take policies which are relevant to his thinking and the board's thinking as well.
Right. Ashish, how would you look at JSPL? It was up 10% yesterday. It's up about 5% today as well.
So I think after a long time, the stock has started to see this kind of volume activity, and if you look at the kind of consolidation it has happened already, almost 1.5 years breakout, this stock has given. So I will not be surprised to see the stock testing 125 in a shorter term. Yeah, definitely a little high risk, high reward kind of stock. So I think one should keep a strict stop loss below 98 and can on upside look for a target of 125 levels.
Right. Thank you so much, gentlemen, for taking out time for us this morning. Mr. Sharma, just before we end, any disclosures?
Yeah. Among the stocks that I've spoken about, RBL is a stock that I hold, and among Tatas, I hold TCS.
Right. Ashish, for you?
I don't have any personal holding in any of them. Yeah, few of these stocks we have recommended to our clients.
Samit, finally, disclosures for you?
I don't hold any of the discussed stocks, but our clients might be having positions.
Thank you so much, gentlemen, for joining us this morning.